Welcome to Amagents. This is Joe. I'm your host today, and my co-host, Captain P and Tinas. Welcome, boys. How are you, Captain P?
What's up? How are you, Joe? I'm good.
Awesome.
Excited for another episode.
Yeah, Tinas.
Yeah. How's it going, guys?
Great. This time, I'm going to be hosting because one of our hosts is in agony. You can see him laughing all the way. We're going to start with the Premier League, and a lot has been happening over the weekend. We're going to start with Liverpool. That's my team, boys. And they are continuing with the same trajectory, and they beat Nottingham Forest 3-0. Any comments, Tinas?
And comments.
Captain P.
No comment at all.
Did you watch the highlights?
Yeah, I saw the highlights. Yeah, Liverpool is playing well. Yeah, look, Liverpool, I think it's back to form. It's got a refreshed midfield now. Exciting midfield. I don't know how to pronounce his name, but Schloboschlei, the one they bought from Red Bull. He's a good midfielder, very, very dominant midfielder. So Liverpool, obviously Mo Salah is still in form. We've got one of the best defenders in recent history, Van Dijk. So I think, the Liverpool is back, it's refreshed. He did the changes which were required, still kept the experienced core, but refreshed it with younger players. You've got World Cup winner, Alex, what's his name? From Argentina, McAllister. McAllister again in the midfield. Unfortunate about what happened with Diaz's family in Colombia. But again, he's another good player. So kudos to Liverpool. It hurts me to say that as a Man U fan, but yeah, man, it is what it is.
It is what it is. It is what it is. And boys, what happened to Chelsea?
Oh, my goodness. My goodness me. I don't know. I have nothing to say. To be honest, I have nothing to say. I feel...
I didn't really expect it, yeah?
I didn't expect it either. Yeah, at the end of the day,
Brenton,
the result shows how much the team is playing, because they pretty much had the game until later on in the match. They just started adapting like before.
Yeah, look, especially after the performance with Arsenal, you'd really have expected Chelsea to kick on, drawing with Arsenal, a strong team, but they've fell back to their same mistakes, defensive frailty. But you'd expect that, as I'm always saying, with Pochettino, trust the process. He's got a very young team. Within 2-3 years, they'll be one of the best teams.
Yeah, but that's the thing. We're not talking about 2-3 years, because we already have 2-3 years down,
Yeah, but I think one thing, I know I'm taking Joe's favorite statement, but I think we're now living too much in a microwave society. I think Jurgen Klopp for Liverpool, it took him 4 years to get to where the team won the Champions League, won the Premier League. It took him 4 years, and he built a strong squad. And now you can see last year they went down, but that core, because he built it over the last 8 years, it's brought him success. Of course, Pep is a bit different. Man City have got a spending power, but you can see after 7 years of them with Pep now, they're playing, it's like when they played Man U. I don't want to go to the Man U game yet, but it was like, people walking their dog in the park. You know what I mean? So easy. They can do it even in their sleep. They know the patterns of play. You know what I mean? So I think people need to give coaches time. I think that's what we are lacking. The Instagram generation where everything has to be flawless.
I think the problem is the amount of money that's being thrown around. The moment those monies, get bigger, results are expected. So especially a team like Chelsea, they throw around $1 billion in 1 year, we expect results because they dismantled the whole team and they put it together. We're hoping that they knew what they were doing, because we trusted the team that was there now. It needed, like you're saying, what Liverpool did, they just needed to buffer it with a few other players. But, they managed to sell off the whole team, buy new players. They must have had a plan. And definitely this sort of playing, like we're 11th now on the log. Like we've barely passed the number 10 mark.
Yeah, but I think it's his first season. Let's see what happens. I'm not a defender of Pochettino. He's, with Tottenham, he built up the young team, and then when it was time to cross over the line, he failed. PSG, he was dealing with mega superstars. He failed there. And so, I'm not an advocate for Pochettino, but what I'm just trying to tell football fans is there's times where, especially for these clubs where they've had back-to-back success, a bit of patience is needed for the new man. You know what I mean? That's my opinion.
Yeah, awesome. All right. Whilst we are on this, speaking of Man U, I won't say anything. I'm going to let Leslie start the conversation about Manchester United versus Manchester City.
Look, it was an absolute humiliating defeat. Going to bed at 4 a.m. watching that. Yeah.
I knew it.
The sleep won't come at 4 a.m. So you just have to have a shower and just start to do work at 4 because there's no point going back to bed and trying to wake up. So look, there's a gulf in class in terms of teams. Man City, as I said, they were playing like they're walking their dog in the park, man. Everything was so easy. Some of the goals, Man United, they were just being shifted from left to right. And to be honest, I think Erik ten Hag overachieved with that team last season. He overachieved. Some of the signings he's made are a bit weird. Signing Mason Mount, I didn't see it as the right signing which was needed for the team. His mega signing, Anthony, 100 million. Again, to me, which feels a bit of a waste of money because he is not really doing anything. So I believe giving managers time is the only next solution. He overachieved. Some of the signings are from the Van Gaal era. Imagine Van Gaal. That's 2014, 2015. You've got Martial. You've got Johnny Evans. You've got people from the Mourinho era, Lindelof. So it's not his team, basically. So
he's adopted the team and he's trying to make the best out of it.
Yeah.
So I'm saying he's not getting money to...
No, look, he's gotten some money. Of course, he didn't spend it wisely, but you blame the people doing the transfer deals. Anthony could have been signed in the earlier part of the transfer window for 40 million. They did that. They couldn't negotiate, and then they had to pay 100 million. Do you blame Ten Hag for the negotiation?
No.
You know what I mean? So Anthony could have been bought for 40 million. We could have used the other 60 million to go and you buy Casemiro. Yes, he's a good player. He's done well for Real Madrid, but paying 70 million for Casemiro.
Yeah, that's like paying 70 million for Thiago.
Yeah.
So we coming back to the match at hand.
Yeah.
What really transpired? Did you watch it, Tinas?
Unfortunately, I did not watch it. I saved myself.
My take is Manchester United, they did their very best. I mean, the players, they did their very best to try and hold the game, but Haaland was just slippery, boys. He was slippery.
Yeah, but Haaland just finished off what I was saying about Man City.
Yeah.
Everyone knows what they're doing. You've got like Bernardo Silva. Bernardo Silva is not a born midfielder. He was a winger, but he's been changed into a midfielder. He's dropping in the pockets, dropping in the spaces. The midfielders were just, there's Bernardo Silva. He's now on the other side. So he was just
all over the place.
He was just picking the pockets. And, he had Foden on the right, Grealish on the left, all staying wide. And the midfield was just picking the pockets. Holland's goals, especially the second one.
Yes.
Everyone had shifted to the left, which was the Man United right.
Yep.
Holland was left at the back post all by himself.
At first I thought he was offside.
Yeah, even me, I thought he was offside. But that's how Man City plays. They shift you left, they shift you right, then they'll shift you back again to the left, and then everyone is dragged there. But look, Pep Guardiola has got the best team. I believe they might do a back-to-back in the Champions League.
Yeah,
That's how good they are.
He was about to score a hat-trick, and then he was so kind enough, human enough, facing an empty goal and then pass it to Foden. Man, that was classic. Beautiful. I know it's, it hurts you so much, but it was really good. You should have watched it, Tinas, and rub it off his face. Eh? But anyway, besides that, their goalkeeper was somewhat airtight. It was just, Onana was playing very well, this game. You agree?
No, he saved us. I think without Onana's couple of saves, it would have been 5 or 6-0. So Onana his game is improved the last couple of weeks. Just to show you the difference between the clubs. You've got Johnny Evans playing centre back. 35-year-old relegated with Leicester, was in Man United colours in 2012-2013. Man City have got arguably the next defender who's going to be the next best defender in the next 5-7 years in Guavio from Croatia. He's only 20. Now, can you see the difference?
Yeah, true.
And Guavio wasn't even playing centre back. He was playing left back. And he was playing like Paolo Maldini, running up and down that left channel. But he's from the World Cup. He was actually in the World Cup 11, considered one of the best defenders at the World Cup. Man City only bought him for 50 million. So you see that when you've got a structure, things become easier. Pep needs only to focus on his tactical genius because there's a structure up top. Any organization with a perfect structure will be successful.
Yeah, who will try, yes. All right, moving on. A few more games, they happened over the weekend. We had Aston Villa taking the stick with 3-2-1 against Luton Town. And Captain P, you predicted that Newcastle was going to be relegated.
I didn't say they were going to be relegated. I did not. I said the coach will be under pressure. That's why I never said they'll be relegated. They're too strong to be relegated. Can you not put words in my mouth?
The tone is changing. Tinas, can you hear that? The tone is definitely changing. The coach
we'll bring back the audio.
Wonderful. Yeah, so Newcastle drew 2-2 with the Wolves, and then Arsenal did it.
But let's talk about Tottenham, man. Tottenham, Ange Postecoglou, man. Tottenham unbeaten.
I was waiting for that.
Aussie coach, man, he's doing wonders with that Tottenham squad.
Yeah, bro.
Aussie
it's
pride.
Looking good, man. It's looking good. I wonder how Harry Kane feels now.
He was holding back the team. Everything had to go through Harry Kane.
Yeah.
Now, this one is a very fluid team. Son, as I said, Son can play on the right. He can play on the left. He can play through the middle, through the channels. Man, it's just a fluid team. Young, energetic. Bissouma, he was good at Brighton. He came and played for two negative coaches in Mourinho and Conte. But look at Ange Postecoglou. He's more of a free-flowing, high-pressing team, and Bissouma, absolute top-notch midfielder, man. We were crying for Bissouma at Man United. They couldn't even sign Bissouma from Brighton.
Yeah. Tottenham's really playing a nice game. Like you said, Son is just amazing. He's getting into the right places. He's taking the goals, man. I think he's 9 goals now in 8 games.
Mm-hmm.
He's playing really, really well, and I wish this team goes far. Minimum Champions League next year, because they deserve it.
They deserve it. They absolutely deserve it. If you look at some of the stats in terms of assists and goals, you've got 2 players from Tottenham, all in the top 5. Son with 8 goals, James Maddison with 5 assists. Man, it's a good team, man.
Good football.
Right. while we are in sport, and let's move on to Rugby World Cup. Who wants to go first? Chinas.
I ended up supporting Springboks because of the motherland. The game itself I thought wasn't very entertaining. Only towards the end, like maybe in the 60th minute going forward, that's when New Zealand sort of had a breath of life and they seemed to be coming. That's when the game started making it a little bit of a shift, but unfortunately they couldn't, score a try or try to overcome South Africa. But congratulations to the Springboks. They deserve it. Kolisi, 2 consecutive, is it consecutive?
Yeah, back to back captain.
World Cups for him. It's a very wonderful thing. Yeah, man.
He's only one of the 2 captains with Richie McCaw to win 2 World Cups as captain. So he's in an era of himself. It's hard to go back to back with rugby because of the intensity and the physicality of the sport.
Yeah.
He's gone, 8 years to win the trophy twice. But my biggest takeaway is that the ref cost the game. As a former rugby player, that was in a red card for Sam Cane, the All Blacks captain. That's never a red card in a million years. He went in with his shoulder, and it was a 10-minute sin bin, and that's it.
Yeah.
But a red card, come on. Red card is when you do a power driver tackle, when you want to paralyze someone or break someone's neck. That's the rugby I played in. That's a red card. Not hitting someone on their head with your shoulder. Are we playing touch football?
No. Even the Kolisi one,
Yeah.
it was a bit questionable, wasn't it?
It was questionable. Like it was like the reps trying to balance it out because they had messed up.
Yeah.
Okay.
So for me,
So
the refs.
you reckon if there was no red card for Sam, it was gonna flip the other way around?
Yeah,
Like
New Zealand would have been.
Yeah.
What happened? South Africa is physical, and they will pin you down to make penalties, and they'll score, the penalty goals as they were doing with all the penalties at the start. But New Zealand, they will just, they're like a Man City. It's all about someone popping.
Game.
Yep, they will lead that around. Yeah,
someone popping in at the right moment, taking the pop up. So I think if it was like you saw, even at 14-15, they were putting South Africa under pressure.
Yes.
South Africa were defending.
The try that was
even disallowed
away.
Yeah.
Oh man, that was great. That was great stuff. They ran the line, a sprint towards the end, and just great passing game. And I think, like you're saying, South Africa is more physical. New Zealand is more. I think they run the line more.
With New Zealand, they've got the combination of finesse and physicality. They matched South Africa's physicality in the forwards, particularly if you saw when South Africa changed all their props and, in the second half, they were losing the scrum. Even in that last scrum,
it collapsed.
It collapsed multiple because New Zealand's front row was mounting them. So New Zealand, with all the Pacific Islander brothers from around the way here, physicality, they'll have it, and they've got the technical ability.
Yes.
So South Africa were very, very fortunate.
Yeah.
Congrats to them.
Going through the news, not many people outside the Springbok, supporters are celebrating their win. Everyone is complaining about the red card. A majority of people are complaining about the red card. They're saying, all Blacks have been robbed this time around because of that red card. So the sentiments goes along with what you were mentioning, Captain P. And anything else, Tinas?
Oh, yeah. What was that guy's name? The guy who failed a try. That first guy from South Africa. That was great.
The number 14. The number 14.
Highlight. Yeah. He's pretty fast, isn't he?
Yeah, they're all fast, yeah. And, South Africa, they were, as I was saying, that they don't have that, cut, set plays. They were trying to do 40-meter drop goals to get the 3 points.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? If you saw how many, I think they made 4 or 5 drop goal attempts. just to relieve the pressure because they were under pressure, but they did not have the cutting edge set plays to go through the All Black defense, even at 14 men. So, and Sam Cane, man, he's a tackler. He's a Richie McCaw-esque type of player. Not as good as Richie McCaw, but as a flanker, is there in the ruck, fighting to turn over the play in the ruck, in the scrums. As a rugby person, it was fun to watch. So I love those type of rugby games. It was intense, but the ref messed it up now.
All right. So moving on. Now we're going to some of the current affairs.
Hey, yo, why are you jumping into current affairs? We haven't even talked about Tyson Fury, Francis Ngannou.
With Tyson Fury, I was so disappointed. So that's why I wanted to skip the segment. So there was a match, of Tyson Fury and Ngannou. How do you pronounce that? Ngannou. Is that correct?
Yeah. Ngannou.
Yes. Former heavyweight champion, boxing heavy champion, Tyson Fury versus UFC heavyweights. What are your takes, gentlemen?
Look, people will say Tyson Fury won because he was jabbing. But come on, Francis Ngannou won that fight. He was landing significant punches. Even you can see when Tyson, one of the pictures which is popped up on social media of Tyson arriving at Heathrow Airport with a massive black eye. For a boxer, he was the one who was supposed to be landing all those blows. But one thing which showed is Francis Ngannou has got a chin because Tyson Fury landed some punches.
Yes.
Yeah.
And I think, as a human being, seeing someone where you're a boxer, you've got power, and you see someone taking those punches and not even flinching, psychologically.
Yeah, it drives you bananas.
It drives you. For Tyson, he was out of answers.
Yes. And you saw a bit of knockdowns. That was beautiful.
That was a beautiful... Man, my Sunday morning was exciting. After finishing the Rugby World Cup, I started the boxing straight away, man. So I didn't sleep until 10 a.m. on Sunday. Man, it was a sports lover's weekend. But look, as I said, for boxing, I think boxing aficionados are very disappointed with what's happened with Tyson Fury. And I think that aura which he had, I think... the mystique. Gone. I don't know what Tina thinks. That mystique which Tyson Fury had in the last 18 months to 2 years has gone down dramatically.
Yeah, it's quite unfortunate that he was given the win, but the flair and everything else goes to Ngannou. He's the one who people seem to be looking at, and they think more of him than the actual person that won.
Because he came in as an underdog.
Exactly. And then
he's never had a professional fight. And I think conditioning, he's a former wrestler, so he never got tired. Even up to he would have gone 12 rounds.
Yeah.
With all that fitness. So, man, the world is his oyster, as they say.
So you reckon if Ngannou gets proper, the training, the boxing training for a period of time, you reckon he'll take the stick as the heavyweight champion in boxing if he, wishes to?
If he wishes to, I think that's the direction you have to go, because I think of the contract issue which he had with the UFC. I think this is his redemption because of, he's made lots of money, more money than he made in the UFC with just this fight. So I think he might be...
What are the pockets looking like?
I think Tyson Fury got 20 million plus and Ngannou got 10 million, I think.
That's not bad.
Wonderful.
What was he earning in the UFC? Do you know?
The UFC deals on there between 600 to 2 million or 600 to 1 million.
Okay.
But UFC is more dangerous than boxing, eh?
Yeah, you'd think.
Yeah, but there's a lot more. I don't know how they've structured their contracts in there. They don't pay people heavily.
UFC also, it rakes in a lot of money, more than boxing does.
That's what I wanted to say, that they seem to have a lot more,
followers.
Sponsorship, following, everything about UFC. They make a lot of noise about it.
I think
boxing.
I think with UFC, that's why you end up seeing these superstars doing a lot of personal endorsements, like your Adesanyas, your Conor McGregors, doing their own personal stuff, which is making them money. But in terms
10 million that's not a bad purse.
No, it's a good deal. Yeah.
Win.
No, you can
Win or
take
lose.
you can take a few punches for 10 million. Yeah,
yeah,
even,
man, he's walked out
even
with
a
it.
month in coma, it's all right.
I don't know about coma though. Joe.
Yeah, but no, he's done well. I think we'll see how far he goes.
Wonderful. All right. So I use happy for us to dive into Palestine and Israel now.
Again?
Yes, because what's happening, everything, things are evolving, every minute. Like right now, Israel now is already, pushing in the ground, invasion into Gaza. There were some images flying around the social media of them with a fleet of tankers going into Gaza. And it's not a good scene. And Gaza is out of internet, and, there's no internet, there's no coverage.
They didn't have fuel. Yeah, they don't have fuel. They don't have gas.
Yeah.
And
So
according to Al Jazeera, Netanyahu has rejected a ceasefire.
yes.
But I think what's our statement we usually...
And he's backed by the US and the
He's
UK.
backed here.
And that, yeah.
Yeah, and with the media, the way they are drip feeding, this issue more on Israel's side, they're doing what we call, from what's that book, Outwitting the Devil?
Outwitting the devil.
They are doing what they're called the word. What are they doing? You're laughing. Why can't you just say it?
You refused the word last time.
No, I accept it now. Just say the statement again.
Hypnotic rhythm.
Rhythm, exactly. Hypnotic rhythm.
So what they are doing is they are slowly pushing the propaganda bit by bit until it makes sense to us.
Yeah,
Even
the
if it
hypnotic
doesn't make
rhythm
sense,
is...
repetition of the same thing until it becomes a reality.
Because now you can see the narrative, all the positive or the information to support or defend the Palestinians is slowly getting suppressed.
Yeah.
Suppressed, like what they did with the whole COVID situation. Or if you spoke about, Ukraine in a different light and you're talking positively about Russia, until at the end of the day, you'll be like, oh man, COVID is real. You know what I mean? Okay. Yeah. Okay. Yeah. or Russia is an enemy. You know what I mean? That hypnotic rhythm,
Yes.
every day, you see something different. Obviously, you've got Twitter, which is, a bit left wing, on the other side of politics. But the mainstream media on the radio, if you're cooking, you're not cooking looking at Twitter, you're cooking listening to the news. You know what I mean?
Yeah, but now with all the internet cut out and all the communications cut out from Gaza, we are getting what they want us to hear. There is no longer that freelance social media, TikTok and everything coming from Gaza or from other Israelis who are against the invasion.
So what is the plan here for Israel? What is the plan? They go in and what? They ram over everything. Gaza. They clean Gaza and then what?
Yep.
And then they start to rebuild as their resettlements. That's the plan.
So this is intentionally moving these people out.
To an extent, yes, but the Hamas was one of the catalyst. Yeah, Hamas was a catalyst. That was a plan, in motion. Hamas has got bad, propagandas, because one of their propaganda is to wipe out Israel, and that's being repeated over and over and over and over and over on the media. so that we paint, the entire Palestine as Hamas. To say the Palestinians, they don't want the Jews, and they are justified to cleanse the whole Palestinian race out of Gaza. However, on a flip side, we don't know exactly what's happening because there is a media blackout.
It's only what Israel is doing that's coming out.
And what Al Jazeera at least is pushing out, that's the only, news channel that's a little bit on the other side.
It's quite unfortunate because I was seeing pictures on Twitter of little babies, man, their heads half blown off. They don't have limbs. They don't have, and it's just, yes, Israel could do what they're doing, but I think it's quite brutal. And the only thing that I take away from this is, if you come and you take my child, or if you kill my child in front of me, the father, the mother, the sisters, the brothers, yes, you could kill me as a father and say, let's do away with all the men and maybe all the mothers. But for as long as those children are going to be alive, they have an agenda with you.
Yeah.
And this is why these sort of wars will never come to an end, because it's always going to be handed down to the next generation, and until it comes to one who succeed to say a certain point and to put the sort of the dagger on your side. And that's when, they will realize what they're doing now is not a solution.
So, and I think what to add on to what Tina's saying is that some type of leaders, where it goes from one generation or one period. I think after the great Yom Kippur War of 67 and 73, you've got, people like Prime Minister Netanyahu. I think he was in his youth when those happened. But if you see one of his speeches, which circulated on social media when he was the UN, a representative at the UN, when he was a young fella, he was already in that mindset of, saying these people are not part of this area.
Yeah.
We own this area. So this has been one of his main missions and passions. Yeah. Just like I'm not comparing him to Hitler or anything, but with Hitler, certain things happened at a younger age.
Yes.
And it drove him up to the point of saying, I need to take action against this particular type of country or particular type of region. And you can see that in this, some of these are more personal legacies of some of these leaders, which they want to leave, that I'm the one who has moved in and wiped out Hamas. In wiping out Hamas, you've obliterated Gaza, because they will come in and say, we will rebuild. But when you're rebuilding on your terms of that settlement.
Yes. And you control the debt as well of whatever is built. They have to repay back to you on your terms as well.
Yeah,
so
but
you own
look, like we're saying, at the end of the day, they're not doing anything, because even if they rebuild and even if they're going to put armies, checkpoints, and it's like they've done all across Jerusalem and all these places.
Yes.
People will always find a way, man. Like, they'll always find a way. And it's just one day. It's just one day. And like, coming back to what you were saying, people like Netanyahu, I think this is his third term as president of Israel.
Yes.
I think he's I don't know how many
years. Third or fourth.
I don't know how many years in total that has been. But like you're saying, it just drums up that, what you're saying, that he seems like he had a personal agenda, and he's made sure that he's come back on the helm 3 times to be able to see that through. And like Joe, I think also that's what you meant, that they sort of let Hamas, they led them on.
Yes.
They made them think they have an upper hand, not knowing that, they'll slap a small slap on one side, but they have a whole army waiting on the other side. And that's exactly what happened. And they just use this as an excuse to go in there and sort of see the work done as they've always wanted it to be done. And it's just a shame that the whole world is watching and no one is saying anything. No one is willing to help.
Yeah. So that brings me to that question of United Nations. What are their role? What is the primary role of United Nations when these things are happening?
Before we say that, but do we know that it's the Jews together with the British that brought up the Declaration of the United Nations? They're the ones who set the road for it to be formed. So
post World War II, I think it just picks an agenda which suits their own narrative, in my personal opinion.
Yeah, it's quite a sad situation because I can even tell that the morale is gone down in this studio. And everyone is kind of gloomy because what's happening is not really good on a humanitarian scale or on a moral compass. It's not good either sides. What Hamas did and what Israel is doing in response to Hamas, it's a far cry to all humanity. And what we are seeing is going to go in the history books as another genocide. It might come to be worse than what King Leopold has done and what Hitler has done.
But King Leopold, you brought a point about King Leopold. I wanted to ask about this genocide. Yeah. King Leopold killed over 20,000 Africans, right? But if you see in the history books, he's not as overly condemned as Adolf Hitler, who killed mainly about a third of that in mainly Jews and other nationalities.
Yeah.
King Leopold, it's like, it happened in the bye-bye eras. But that was severe genocide, what that king did.
No, that's where,
some of his statues are still standing.
Yes. That's where there is that, a selective humanity or selective sympathy, where if it's white community that has been massacred, there is a lot of publicity about it. Similarly to what's happening at the moment on the ground, Palestinians have been experiencing a lot of casualties from this conflict way before the 7th of October, but it hasn't been on the media that much. And a lot of Palestinians have died. It hasn't been on the media. So there is that selectivity on when it comes to showing empathy on the loss of life. Now, because it's the Jews that are dying, everyone is crying foul. When Africans were dying under the rule of King Leopold, it was, part of business.
Yes.
When the Jews were dying under Hitler, the whole world was crying foul. So it depends with who is.
It depends
on the receiving end.
When the United States was bombing Iraq,
Iraq, true.
Nobody was saying anything because I was laughing. I was watching the new TV show which is out there in South Africa, the Shaka, remake of Shaka. And one of the episodes is the Mutetwa clan. They were being given corn and they were given a wooden chair. And this lady was like, "Oh, I'll give you this packet of corn for a whole heap of ivory." For a whole heap of ivory. She says, "I'll take this ivory." She was like, "Oh, I'll take these elephant horns." And the Mutetwa clan guys were like, "Yeah," because they were given to taste popcorn.
They didn't know it, man.
So I'm just saying.
And they had plenty of horns. So barter trade sometimes is a bit skewed.
That's what they were laughing about, Lobengula, when they said Lobengula sold the country because of the bag of sugar.
Yeah, and this Mutetwa was the king, was always lying on the floor or sitting on the floor. And was given this nice wooden chair. It was not even a gold one, a wooden one. And then they were saying, "Oh, you now look like a real king." And they were taking the ivory away because they knew the value of the ivory.
Yeah.
It's crazy. Yeah.
It happens.
We can dive with these topics. You can go into different.
There's so many avenues. Yeah. However, but coming back to the Israel-Palestine, any comments, guys, or we're still mourning, the losses of lives on both ends.
Yeah, we're mourning the.
But I just don't understand how, Egypt has just closed its borders and said nope.
Yeah, and it's another predominantly Islamic, country. Yeah. So basically, they are saying we don't want elements. We are saying if we close the border, they're scared that some of the elements of Hamas
will come
to hide in Egypt, and then the Muslim Brotherhood will get stronger again. So there's a lot of dynamics in this thing. Yes, we may talk about hypnotic rhythm, which we were laughing about, but there's a lot of political dynamics
But even Egypt now, Israel itself, they seem to have an agenda though, because now they're going after Hezbollah in Lebanon as well. And was it last night? I was watching some videos. They were bombing the hell out of that place as well. And I wonder.
Yeah. With Israel, it's an open secret. They want to clean out the whole area to become, Israel, state of Israel. You see what they're doing in West Bank, the settlers.
Yeah.
Since the 7th of October, a lot of, Palestinians have died, and there is no Hamas there. Is there any explanation or justification for that? No. And it's been happening, and it continues to happen. So Hamas is just a scapegoat. But this is a plan in motion, and it's going to happen because the West is...
but Joe, this is what I was saying. Like, they could do it, and then they go, okay, they've got the money. Yeah. They could have this Iron Dome. They take the land, and then they put the Iron Dome.
Yeah.
But you see, what you have done is you have misplaced a lot of Muslims.
Yes.
Who can, and who are... Countries like Iran sympathize with these people.
Yes.
Countries like Saudi Arabia sympathize with these people.
And Lebanon.
So with time, you have just created an enemy. And as we know, most of these Muslims, they're not the ones to shout your enemy. They will hit you hard when you least expect. They will find a way. Hamas was very good at these tunnels. Yes. They've created an underground network of tunnels that they were infiltrating Israel. Even into kilometers into Israel. It's rumored that there are tunnels that were going in. Yeah. So they did all this in silence. So you can imagine, once you take away their homeland and once you make it yours, what they will be willing to do.
Yeah.
Now they're just using small rockets and what have you. But imagine.
If they get a hold of proper equipment.
Of course, they will be looking for
like what Ukraine was equipped and tried to, withhold Russia, and they tried their best because they had the funding and the equipment. If Hamas
you know what the funny thing is, some of the weapons that are being used by Hamas are weapons that were given to Ukraine by the United States. So this
through the black market.
Yeah, through the black market. So the Ukraine sold these weapons. I don't know whether to black market,
dealers,
dealers, and then they took it to. I was just like, wow, you give Ukraine your weapons and they use it against your ally.
Yeah. It's comedy, but it's comedy in real life.
Oh, it's beautiful. All right, guys, just a funny question. I've got it. Not about the Israel Hamas thing.
Go for it.
What would you do if you found out that your wife has got an OnlyFans account?
That's not my wife.
There's that trending story about the former basketball star who found out his wife has got an OnlyFans. Some are saying it's a skit to promote it.
Yeah.
But, man.
No. The whole thing is already finished because with OnlyFans, it's like she is having an affair with the entire world.
Yeah.
Of old fellas with no teeth.
But why would he be upset? Because she was clapping back saying that, what I'm earning from my jobs is not enough. OnlyFans is, breaking me through. Because this guy earned over 60 million in the NBA and it's all gone.
Yep. So if she chooses to, it means she chooses to walk away from the relationship.
You know what? This story is. This
Is
one.
is it a Jada Pinkett syndrome?
Because you know what? Once she starts mentioning money that you can't provide for her, then the conversation is done.
Yeah, it's finished.
It's done. Because if you can't do anything for her, then. But you know, they forget that when I had the 60 million, we spent it together. So it's not like today we're broke because I mismanaged the money. You don't have to do things that are drastic. Like, come on, where's the essence of marriage?
Boys, you
But
know what? It doesn't really
OnlyFans. Okay, but if she's bringing the bread and she's doing OnlyFans, are you gonna be upset?
No,
Yes.
mate. I know, but do you really think they have a half and half situation in this? Once she brings in the money from OnlyFans, do you think they have a half and half?
Of course, he just, if he apparently found out, it means that she's just been eating that money herself.
Exactly. Yeah. So it's not about him.
Yeah, the money that she makes is hers. The money he was making was theirs. You know? So at the end of the day, it doesn't matter how much you make. Look at even Tyrese Gibson. He's making good money, but his woman decided to jump ship, you know, because she thought there was, you know, better out there, you know.
She's a skank, that one. I'm sorry to say. She's a skank. You see what she said?
But she's awesome, bro.
Bro, she's beautiful, yes. But did you see what she said? She now comes out now. After all the things she's put Tyrese through, she now comes out and she says, oh, it was the people that were with me, behind me. If I didn't have these people behind me, I wouldn't have made that decision.
Yes.
It's almost like she wants to like slowly go back to say, you know what? I'm sorry. Let's get back together. Only because she realized the courts will not give her the money that she wants. If she was given the money that she wants, she wouldn't have said all that. Yeah, she wouldn't have said that. But Tyrese was very clever. He had a prenup, squeaky clean. She got nothing out of it.
Yeah.
She's a scam, bro.
The smile on Tina's face when he's talking about,
about the prenup,
My brother.
The way he was smiling and said the prenup, it was clean.
So this time around, if she comes back, she wants to finish him off,
Oh, definitely she will. Yeah. And I feel sorry for the Tyrese's girlfriend right now, because obviously there were talks. She's
gonna be abused.
No, not abused, but there's just gonna be talks, you know, like she's not getting anything out of that. Like definitely she's not getting anything.
Yes.
Yeah, but what's your take? What's your take about the prenup or post-nuptial agreement? Is it to protect all sides?
It's very necessary, especially if you're somebody like Tyrese, who we didn't know anything about the woman before she was with Tyrese. We knew about Tyrese since he was 19 years old. That Coca-Cola advert, you know, baby, what's that movie name? He got onto that.
Fast and Furious.
Exactly. He made his name. I'm saying Voltron. Sorry, Transformers. He made his name, bro. He's put in the work. And so what makes her think that she can just come in and claim?
And what about in a current relationship where you're not a Tyrese? You're just a person, you've got your investment properties, you've got your assets.
For as long as you have
before marriage
wealth.
or after marriage.
Whether it's in the current marriage that you're in.
In the current marriage, you can't do the post-nap. It's not a good sin. But however, you can...
Why is it not... Why is it not?
Wait,
why is
let
it
me
not?
Finish. Let
okay,
me finish.
No. All right, I'll let you finish and I'll come back.
You can protect both you and your wife or partner by establishing a trust where both of you cannot siphon out of it. Even if you separate, both of you continue to benefit out of that trust, and your kids will have more of a say, or the trustees will have more of a say over the trust. And the trust will have the clauses not to be dissolved even after a divorce. You know, they have that legal clause if it's something that can be done.
Okay, but what if setting up a trust is it's easier to have a post-nuptial agreement where both parties agree, whether it's in the current marriage, to say, honey, you're working, I'm working, you've got your own plans, I've got my own plans. Our mutual plan is XYZ, but you want to achieve your own mutual plans for your side of the family. And I want to do certain things for the side of my family. And we'll purchase XYZ assets. Let's have this nuptial agreement. Is that wrong? Because wealth can accumulate from a different point in life. It can accumulate within 30 minutes after finishing our recording, or within 2 days. And wealth starts to accumulate. Yes, you can set up a trust and put each other as beneficiaries, one as a trustee, blah, blah, blah. You can do all that paperwork. But another security blanket of having the trust, you can also have a post-nuptial agreement.
Yeah, but some of those post-nuptial agreements, as much as you might have them, if they're not airtight, the courts can easily find loopholes that can end up, say, who was this guy? What's his name? Anderson. What's his name? The chubby guy with the locks. What's his name?
The comedian.
Yeah, that guy who used to, my wife and not my wife and kids. Well, he does sitcoms.
Tracy Anderson.
No, Tracy Anderson. I can think of the one movie that he acted with DMX. What's his name, man? Damn it, I'm forgetting. But anyway, he has some crazy arrangement where if he makes, at any time after the divorce with his wife, if he makes $2 million, anything that is worth over $2 million, I think he gives some crazy amount of money. Like, is it 20% or something? I can't remember. But this is way after the marriage. At any point in his life, if he's going to make a certain amount of money,
he gives 20% to the missus.
He has to give her a certain amount of money, regardless of the fact that he's paying
alimony.
Exactly. That's
so
crazy.
What that does, it makes you lazy, not to want to work, because even if you work, you're working for nothing.
Yeah, but that's why some people are saying the institution of marriage is the worst investment one man can make.
If we knew that a long time ago, we would be in a good place, But because now we were indoctrinated, even in our religion, to believe that marriage is a very good institution. And we believed that with our whole heart. Even if you listen to some of these celebrities, like recently there's this, what's his name? Another comedian, Steve, was it Crawford something, who's been banned by his wife of many years. He used to come out and, he castigate men to say, you have to do what your missus wants. You see, look at what Steve Harvey. You have to do what your missus, want. You have to make her happy. No matter what you do, marriage institution is something that you just need to find grace from God if you are a believer, because people do change once they're in a marriage, The sweet girl that you married, Tinas, becomes barbaric, narcissistic animal.
There you go.
And
you
will be surprised. Is that the very same person I got married to? Look at what this lady is doing, tearing down Tyrese, saying he was abusive, an animal.
Yeah.
Now she's regretting.
Yeah.
When she realized that no bag is coming.
I was talking about Anthony Anderson.
Oh, Anthony Anderson. Oh, yes. My man.
He's going through the lot.
You know what he just needs to do? He just needs to take whatever he has and start to build trust that he does not own.
Okay, so it says here, it says he's going to pay more than $200,000 a year in spousal support. Bro, he's 53 fucking years old, bro. He's going to have to pay $200,000. of spousal support a year.
Yes.
You've got to make that money.
Yep. Yep. It's gotta come out from somewhere. But if you can't make it, they can reassess. That's the beauty of the courts.
And if his income is in excess of $2 million per year, he must pay Alvina 20% of that gross amount, which would increase her payment to $400,000 a year.
Even before taxes.
Wow.
Jeez, gross amount. Bro.
Yeah.
What about if your cost and your taxes takes away all the 70% and you're left with 30%? You give it 20%, you're left with 10%.
What I'm saying, brother.
I'm telling you.
I don't know why maybe it's something that we need to delve into. I don't know why the courts have allowed women to have so much leeway when it comes to divorce. It doesn't make sense.
Especially when scheme, bro.
Especially when they are actually the ones that are being pushed up. There's a lot of women rights. There's a lot of schemes that are helping women become more and more powerful. But still, it just seems like everything is for women.
Yep. My comment will become a little bit religious when it comes to this, because I personally would think that it's somewhat demonic, because the more power they have, the more power they want, and the more they destroy the fabric of a family union.
Yeah.
Because the man is supposed to be the head. Now, the system has emasculated the man, and the family is being dismantled left, right, center.
Yeah.
Like one of the podcasters was saying, it's a plan in motion which started a long time ago as a CIA project.
Yes.
Of feminism.
And there are books that were written about this.
It's an established strategy to try and destroy the family union. Once there is no nucleus family, it's easy to manipulate the masses. It's like communism or Marxism 101 in a sneaky way. Where
because they're promoting individualism. Like you look for, you do yourself. If he doesn't want you, then leave him.
Wives
and you
are
will give
turning
you the
against their husbands. The kids are turning against their parents.
Because once you break the nucleus of the family, there's little resistance. I think you saw what was happening in particular regions with the whole COVID thing. Particular areas where there's a big family nucleus, there was a massive resistance to some of these laws and outcomes and decisions. Hence, even in I think with the Joe was saying about the CIA, in some areas in the US, where you've got that whole paramilitary area where people have got arms. It's like family of 30, 40 who've got arms.
Yeah.
And then you've got the local sheriff. It's maybe 10 police officers. They can't go to that house or to that farm because it's already a paramilitary. You know what I mean?
Yes.
Yes.
So they've always targeted the family. But again, these are topics we can jump in.
Yeah. So moving on, whilst we are still in the same, arena of family and, having a nucleus family, what are your thoughts in regards to absent fathers?
Absent fathers?
Yes.
Or toxic mothers?
Toxic mothers or absent mothers?
I think absent fathers are the initial crack in the wall that will just render the whole house unlivable.
Yep. I think with absent fathers, particularly for the children, there are certain values or principles they can only understand from, not being sexist or anything, but from a male type of figure.
Yeah.
I think studies have been proven, particularly in terms of incarceration, highest number of incarcerations, families where children have a father who hasn't been there, or a father who left there. But however, the issue is, yes, the father may be absent, but however, there's been toxicity which has been poured by the apparent mother who is there, right? I think where people have failed to do is that the issues which have happened between the parents should have been cleared so that there is a ability for both parents to have a relationship. You know what I mean? If a father wants to be there, right, but is not in good books with the particular mother, unless the court system intervenes, there's a lot of pouring of toxicity put in there.
Even if the court system intervenes, I know of people who were given certain weekends of the month with their children, but they don't get to see their children. They're not allowed to, because she would just say, no, I've decided we're going here, so you can't have it this weekend. The next weekend, she doesn't.
That's a breach. That's a breach of the court order. That person can go back to the courts, because breach of court orders is a what? Offense.
Yeah. True. But look, man, that's the reality of things. There are a lot of these issues that are happening. And some people it's not everyone who has time to be going to the courts, because they're the breadwinners. They have to be working. They have to be doing these things. And sometimes, there's fabrication of things. Oh, he was saying this to me, or he was saying that, or he did this or this, just to delay the process. Yeah. So it's now a he said, she said type of situation. So there's a lot of, like you're saying, there's a lot of toxicity that just starts spreading. And a lot of the time, that toxic energy comes from only one species.
Now, look, let's be honest, but there's toxic mothers out there. Of course, there are toxic fathers. Yes. Both parties can be toxic, but what we are saying is that the toxicity needs to stop, because it is what is affecting the young generation.
It comes from one species.
Yeah, it comes from one species.
We are not taking responsibility, as fathers.
No. As I said, there are some absent fathers who've decided to be absent. They don't care.
Yeah.
Right? And there are some who've been absent because of circumstances.
Yes.
Right? And others who've become absent because of court orders, because of their bad behavior, whether it's domestic violence, criminal assaults, whatever.
And some who become absent because of that toxicity. They
some
just
become
decide,
absent.
You know what? Yeah. For now, I'm going to walk away.
Because remember, as we talked about, the court system is heavily supportive of women, unless you can fight your own good case to defend yourself.
Yes.
Right? And you're willing to fight, you're willing to sacrifice money, willing to sacrifice the time. Because remember, the wheels of justice move very slow.
Yeah.
So you might get a court date in 2025, today, and you've now got what? From today's October, and your court date is in February 2025. That's what, 16 months.
Yeah.
You've got no access to the children. What's happening? What information are the children listening to?
Exactly.
Right? For those 16 months, from the mother, the mother's family, the mother's friends, all that, right?
Yeah, your father doesn't love you.
Yeah, exactly. Look at him. He's not even coming.
He's not coming.
I can't.
He can't. So you see, that's where you see that once there's a relationship between father and children, where there's no interference, where there's a weekend or two fortnights or whatever it is, you see the change.
Yes.
In behavior. You actually start to hear statements like they only want to listen to you.
Yes. Yes.
Because there's a difference in the application of discipline, which can be done. With men, there's... Yeah,
so, coming back to the core issue, we find that, despite what causes the absenteeism of the father, kids will not be able to tell the difference when they're young, or even as the teenagers or whatever. It still affects them, whether the father is absent by his choice or by court decision or by repulsion from the toxic mother. The effects are almost the same to the kids. So a research was done in Botswana, where most of the kids, especially the girls, they will find it very hard to create a bond with, either a husband or a partner as they grow older if the father was absent. For the boys, there is a lot of, we encounter with the law enforcement, like Captain P was saying, that there is higher levels of incarceration if there is absenteeism, and also there is higher level of either drug use and getting into a lot of criminal activity because of the lack of a father figure presence in their life, and also emotionally they become a little bit less emotionally resilient because of the absence of the father in the family. So despite who is causing the turmoil, the effect on the kids is a reality, and it's something that will happen despite the cause.
Yeah,
Back
most
to you,
definitely.
Captain P.
No. Look, you've just summed it up very well. I think people or relationships with children, or whether the relationship is ended, let your tensions be your tensions, and let children have a relationship with both parents. Never badmouth the other parent, because there's no benefit to it. If you want to go and vent about your baby daddy or your baby mama, vent with your new boyfriend who you are shacking up with. Vent with your new girlfriend you are shacking up with, or vent with your mates. But don't go and vent in front of the kids. To me, it's the lowest of the low. To me, that individual who does that is a person of no morals and no intellect.
They're actually destroying the kids.
Yeah, but they don't see it that way. You see, the person who has that ability to even want to say bad about someone who you have built something with lacks something already.
Yeah,
whether
they've got their own self-esteem issues.
Exactly. Like,
to me,
there's no way that you it's like when you're husband and wife, there's no way you would want to go and start bringing down your own husband in front of people to gain a certain narrative that you want to achieve. The moment you do that, you've already
you've got your own esteem issues.
Exactly.
You know, there's banter. You know, when you're at a couple's dinner, you know, you joke around and say, you know, the dishes are not done at my house, you know, just for a joke. You're not disparaging someone, but you're all joking around. And they can turn around and say, if you want me to do that, I won't go to work. I'll just stay at home, blah, blah, you know, and you all laugh about it. But there's the one where you go and say, you know, your father's like that. You're like, your father's baba, you know, me, you know, come on. You've got no morals. You've got no intellect. Your mind is so small. But you see now, I'll never talk to,
Unfortunately, now there are so-called support groups that would, you know, take on these things as you opening up, and then they give advice, and then this is where the toxicity comes from, because
they're feeding onto that,
exactly. And one wife, to be honest, probably they were beaten, they were this. Oh no, my husband used to do this to me, and that's the truth. But you see, what they're doing is you're now feeding everybody the feelings that you have, that the things that were done to you, you are now handing them over to other people, and they are reliving your experience as though it was them. So when they go back home and they have a similar situation, they're now reliving that moment that she was talking. Oh, and then he hit you, and this, and they'll do this to you. And now you have people, you know, acting in certain ways, and it's just like, wow. They don't realize, you know, these Facebook groups, you know, whatever lunches, teas, or whatever they end up doing, that sometimes it's not a space to be. my host, they're laughing. Is it close to home, gentlemen? Is it close to home, gentlemen?
I'm looking at your face. Your face has got so much.
Keep a straight face. Because you know you are dissecting it so much so that the listeners they can actually it's palatable. It's you know, you can touch it. You can feel that, you know, you can taste it. You know, guys, this issue is quite a serious issue, and we're going to, you know, continue to navigate into this whole issue in our, you know, next podcast. We are going to conclude the podcast for today, and thank you so much for listening, and visit our website amagenspodcast.com.au. And also our
It's .com, not
it's
AU, mate.
.com. I'm used to, the AUs. And also our socials at Amagens Podcast. Like, post, and share, because these discussions, they are quite, very good. And also it can change someone's situation. We're having a discussion. If you've got any comments, leave them below. And some of the discussions that we were talking about, like the research in Botswana, you will find the links in the description box. Have a good one.
Awesome.
Thanks.
Awesome,
Thanks,
chat,
man.
gentlemen.